really want to say thank you because it was a few years ago when you were filming John Wick 4 that you gave me like an hour of your time for, I think it was Raging Fire. And I loved talking to you for that long, and it was just great. Thank you.
I'd love to give you an hour today, but.
So listen, I have a ton of questions about why I get to talk to you, but I like asking about some other things to start interviews off. So I'm friends with Chad Skalski, and he told me that you guys are currently talking about still doing that Kane spinoff movie. But he let something slip when I spoke to him earlier today, and he told me I could ask it. He said that he wants you to direct it.
It is true.
he told me today. I know. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so what is this? Do you think this is going to happen?
I think both the fans as well as the studio want this to happen. And we'll see. Yeah, I don't know, Steve. I can only tell you that much. But yes, we are in talking, and we are talking intimately, and we'll see what happens.
I was excited for the movie just because you were going to do it, but the fact of you directing it adds a whole nother level to it for me. That I'm like, oh, I need this to happen. Like this is going to be fantastic.
Well, I'm but at the same time, I hold responsibility as well as a pressure that I don't want to ruin the franchise. I try to do my best to bring something fresh to the franchise itself. I don't want to spoil I don't want to ruin. I don't want to bring down the expectation for the fans. I try to do my best, like always. I do my best.
Yeah, listen, I would imagine that if this film ends up happening, I would imagine Chad would be there to, help / support you.
He better be there.
No, but I would imagine, a lot of people would want to be there for you for this particular film. And I really hope it ends up happening. This is my fun. Hopefully you'll find this fun. So there's a true or false question about The Prosecutor. Is it true that you only made this movie so you could direct your dad in the film?
Of course not. I didn't want to do this movie in the first place. It took me 2 months to really convince myself and then also finding an angle and how to present the story. My friends, they are the producers for Ip Man series as well as Flashpoint. We were developing Flashpoint 2 and Ip Man. We were working on the story and Ip Man 5 as well, right? And then all of a sudden they presented me the story, and I told them, I said, I don't want to do this because I don't know anything about this, right? I do action movies. I don't know anything about, and there are tons of these really great movie about court scenes, right? We watched them all, right? And I didn't want to take on, I don't want to risk. I didn't want to risk myself, but it took me. But they were really convinced that in their mind, that character in the original script, they know me. They think that I'm the perfect person to play that character. So it took me 2 months to convince myself to say, okay, I think I found a way to combine the two, which was quite challenging because, number one, you have this action world, Donnie Yen fans. They want to see actions, right? And then this subject of the story is inspired by a true case. How do you make a realistic, true story along with a superhero type of action films, right? Combining the two and make them work. And that was the hardest task for me. But of course, other aspects are, as a director, bringing all the great actors together and, having the audience to engage with the story where you don't want to overboard them. You don't want to lecture them. Sometimes these kind of story can be very forceful. I didn't want it to be forceful. I wanted to be entertaining. But then after you watch the movie, it's actually there's a deeper message behind the film. And yeah, that was my first initial intention. And I just kind of took the chances of on a daily basis of shaping the film as I went along with the film, with the process.
I am curious because one of the things you mentioned it, but this film has action and it's also a courtroom drama. So for you, what ended up being like the actual toughest part of directing this particular film? Because you're mixing two genres together.
Absolutely. And well, first of all, you have to create a world where people have to believe in the story first, right? And secondly, it's the pacing of the story. You know, to me, when we watch movies, right, you can't please everybody. Everybody watch movies for different perspective, right? Some people watch for a joyride. Some people watch it for soul searching. So you can't have it all. You can't say, "Oh, no, I'm going to make a movie that pleases everybody." You know, you have the popcorns lovers, you know, the audiences. Then you have the the film noir, right? So, but I do know one thing though: when you have the audience emotionally attached to a film, then they will forget everything else. And when they're emotionally attached, hey, a lot of logics can go out of the window, right? Oh, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. That didn't make sense, right? Because you're emotionally attached. So that was my first attempt, having the audience to engage with what my character is facing, the challenges, and just kept predicting what's going to happen. What is the reaction? Every shot, from every scene to every single shot. When I do the shot, when I do the scene, is my audience still with me? And how exciting they are. If they and there's a couple of moments where I was really sure that I can have them going. For example, from day one, the MTR scene at the end, the fighting scenes, right? I know that it's going to work. I know that it's going to work. Even in the very beginning when I was revising the script, we revised the script many times. I didn't want it to be dive too deeply into this case and this and that, you know, because I thought you would take away the entertainment aspect, the pacing of the film, right? I just wanted to, this is the case, but at the same time, I need to drive forward. I need to keep going with the tempo of the story. So when I was revising the script, I knew immediately that, I know by the end of the story, people is going to be so engaged that they're going to care for me. They're going to be, they're going to feel the pressure, the same pressure that they feel as my character in the film, that is going to work. And, we show the film many territories, and that's one of the favorite scenes of audiences.
So one of the things, I'm curious, what is you're very selective with you directing. You haven't directed so many, films. And I'm curious, what is your favorite part of directing? Because some filmmakers I've spoken to love the shoot and hate the editing, and others love the shoot, and vice versa.
That's a very good question, Steve. Let me try to. I want to use this opportunity to clear a few things up, because at IMDb they got it wrong. I've only directed official. There's certain films that in IMDb I didn't direct those films. And there are films that I directed, didn't give me the credit. We didn't have that credit, right? So I basically directed two films back in 1997, right? Ballistic Kiss and Legend of the Wolf. And they were shot under $500,000 US. So I had nothing to work with, right? And at that time, I didn't know too much about being a director. My experience and everything just kind of, I went on instinct and guts and courage and, I'm going to direct, I'm going to try it out, because I've always been a very good action director and I love editing. So right before I took on the role as a director. But after that, I directed a few films that was in my Guardians. Like I did Flash, Enter the Fat Dragon, even though it was credit to my little brother, and my good friend Kenji Tanigaki, right? But I basically was driving that vehicle, and as well as Chasing the Dragon. When I worked with Von Jing, my producer, with Andy Lau, I probably directed like 80-90% of the story. And other than that, I did Sakura, and I did partly of Raging Fire with my late friend Benny Chan. We took on different roles. I helped him shape the actions, and I shot the action scenes, and he was sick, and I helped him to actually edit most of the film when he was being his last few months of his, unfortunately, passing away before he passed away. And then I went on to direct Sakura. It was also a very tough journey because, when you shoot a movie with that kind of historical literature, based on the novels, trying to condense them into 2 hours, it was almost impossible. I don't know why I took that job, but I did it anyway. And we didn't have a lot of money to work with shooting a period film with all these great costumes and 50 characters in the film. But I did that, and then this is what I did. My latest work, Prosecutor. I do feel that the prosecutor is giving me a fair chance of showing what type of director I am, and the possibility, the potential of me being a director, because although it's in comparison to Hollywood standard, it's not a huge budget. We shot it for under $25 million US, maybe $20 million US, right? But it's still a lot more than my first movie when I shot it for $500,000 US, right? And I dedicated myself. I didn't do anything else. I spent a whole year doing this movie. So I think, to be fair, I think this really represents me as what kind of director I am.
Which is why I said, let's have you direct that Kane movie.
That's another. I have to kind of flush it out. I have a couple ideas in my mind how I like the story to go, right? But we'll see. I don't want to give it too much because I don't know if I'm in that position to give that away. But they've been very persistent, and they've been very passionate about me taking on this projects, and we'll see what happens. And I'll do my best.
Yeah, listen, also, like I said at the beginning, if it does come together, there's going to be so many people in the action community that would want to work on this with you that it would just be it would be like an all-star rock concert, except your movie,
We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to make sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And, and my attempts is to try to make something that I won't disappoint the fans and the general audience.
So one of the things before I got to talk to you, I was provided with, and I want to give them credit, Mandarin Motion Pictures released this unbelievable EPK thing with you, the behind the scenes directing, and it really shows a lot. And I was wondering, how much did you enjoy pulling back the curtain and showing all that stuff on set and you directing?
I tell you, this is, I produced the film. I produced The Prosecutor with Mandarin Films. I actually produced this documentary. It was my given the permission for them to do that, because I wanted to share how films are being made and how I make films. Sure. I want to see unfortunately, the Western audience won't understand the language barrier, because I curse a lot as well, and that is the culture of old school and still today of Hong Kong action cinemas, or any cinemas, right? There's a lot of cursing around, but the cursing doesn't define a person with no sophistication. It's just a certain language of expressions on the set, right? And there's no holding punches. I want to let the audience to see this is how Donnie Yen's, but at the end of the day, that's how I truly feel about the industry of Hong Kong today. That's how I truly feel about how I like to share my experience with the younger filmmakers, particularly with doing Hong Kong action movies, particularly, has been influencing the world, I believe, in the last few decades, right? And recent years, I do feel there's a certain disconnections or decline of the quality of these films. And I just wanted to use that opportunity to inspire, basically, to inspire younger filmmakers. Like, look, you got to work hard. You got to dedicate to your art. Ultimately, that is how I felt, and I want to share with the world.
Yeah, I'm going to, when I run this interview, I'm going to embed the EPK because it's excellent, and you can learn a lot about how you work. But I am curious. So you finish the movie, or you have a cut that you're happy with. You start showing it to friends and family. What did you learn from those early screenings that impacted the finished film?
I've cut this film probably about a dozen times, and I show the screen on a big screen. I test some, within my own production crew and one or two friends. I think it's overall about how I pace the film. There's one or two scenes I took out. Ultimately, I wanted to keep the scene. It was between me and Cheng,
you're like your boss in the police department, like your part, like the guy who's in charge of you in the prosecutor office.
Right. He's the funny guy. He's like in the middle. So there was a scene where we're working and we're exchanging our backgrounds of what's going on in our own lives, right? So I thought, I really like that scene. It really shows a lot of these two characters. But at the end of the day, I have to make an ultimate decision of pacing the story, getting the audience to engage with the story and not lose track of the side characters, the main subjects, storytelling, as well as the emotional engagement that I emphasize. Because ultimately, if you watch a Donnie Yen action movie, I want to grasp them. I don't want them to, I'm going to go to the toilet, So you have to make these kind of decisions on a daily basis. I spent 3 months in the editing room. I was changing lines even during post-production, because a lot of times when you do the ADR, you change lines as well, because when you shoot action movies, especially in Hong Kong, you can't use a lot of these dialogues because it's just too noisy, right? So the sounds are not clean. So when you go to the editing room, you find another creative freedom and the possibilities of making that scene even better. So we change. That is the culture of Hong Kong filmmaking from day one. We improvise a lot. I changed the script about a dozen times. I reshoot some of the scenes, but mainly I edit probably a dozen times to finally came to a version where should fit different types of audience. Some people looking for the finesse of these characters, and some people want the tempo of the story. So I believe ultimately this is the final version. But having said that, I always say, just like in my BTS, I can continue to edit. There's no end to it. You can always fine tuning and always finding little things you can perfect a film.
Yeah, listen, I know people that have edited for a year and they're still like with editing. All the filmmaker people, all the directors I know, they say that it's not you finish the movie, you've just run out of time. Yeah,
absolutely. I always wait till the last second where the producer, the film company is like, Donnie, next week we're gonna shoot this. I said, give me a couple more days. I need more days.
Yeah, don't listen. I got to stop. I'm sure you have other people you need to speak with. I'm just going to say thank you so much for your time, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.